Yep, we're finally doing this. Please be kind. Okay, if you watch my rewrite of the Obi-Wan series, you know I'm not necessarily a big fan of Star Wars, but over the years I've watched videos talking about the franchise, and I've grown in appreciation and, dare I say, become a semi-fan of George Lucas's Star Wars. However, when it comes to Disney Star Wars, to me, Andor and Rogue One are the only ones worth a damn. I know there's other shows and animated series that Disney has produced, but honestly, since The Acolyte, I'm fatigued. But we're not here to talk about those other projects. We're here to talk about the three that started it all. If I had to sum up these movies in one word, then the first one would be okay, the second one is bad, and the third is shit. Over the years, I've watched so many videos talking about this trilogy and all the bad decisions that were made. I have thought about what I would do to fix this travesty, and from all the information I've gathered, everyone seems to be in agreement that there should have been a prequel to Disney's Star Wars trilogy, one that would wrap up the original trio storyline, or quartet if you count Chewie. With that in mind, one scene stuck out to me that was the cataclysm to the trilogy story, and that was the flashback with Luke and Ben.
Snoke had already turned his heart. He would bring destruction and pain and death at the end of everything I love because of what he will become. And for the briefest moment of pure instinct, I thought I could stop it. And with consequence. And the last thing I saw were the eyes of a frightened boy whose master had failed him. And now!
Yes, we are rewriting this particular scene, but before getting into the rewrite, let's dive into why this scene is so problematic. To summarize what's happening, Luke senses a darkness in his nephew, and in a moment of weakness and fear, he thinks about killing his nephew, but realizes that's wrong. However, Ben wakes up and sees his uncle with his lightsaber drawn, which causes him to respond in what he believes is self-defense. The reason why people hate this is because Luke was tested the same way before in The Return of the Jedi. He was in the presence of that same darkness, which was his father at that time, and instead of killing him, knowing all the horrible things he's done and all the horrible things he probably would have continued to do, he chose to lay down his lightsaber and see the good in his father. He gave his father a second chance after he had already gone to the dark side, and yet he doesn't give his nephew the same opportunity despite him not doing anything yet. That's one of the reasons why so many people have an issue with this scene. With that said, let's see what I can do with this. Enjoy. Luke takes his nightly stroll, checking on his advanced students, who sleep in tents as part of their training. All seems well as he heads back to his academy, but something faint catches his attention. At first, he thinks it may be one of his students meditating, but it's not. As faint as this feeling is, there is a familiarity to it that alarms his instincts. He slowly makes his way to the direction it's coming from. With every step, the faint feeling becomes more pronounced until he remembers. It's the same as his father. The dark side has made its way to his academy. In this moment of realization, Luke hones his senses and dashes towards where the force is coming from, blinding himself to everything else around him. He readies his saber as he realizes that the intruder is with his nephew. Luke draws his saber ready to defend his nephew, but when he enters the tent, all is still as Ben sleeps. However, that faint feeling comes back, and to his horror, the source is his nephew. Luke approaches out of concern, but Ben wakes. A glance is exchanged between the two. Before Luke can speak, Ben uses the force and collapses the tent. Luke emerges from the tent only to find Ben already a good distance away. Before Luke can take chase, his academy is attacked, forcing him to make a choice. I already talked about the main issue with the film version, but another issue with this scene is Ben himself. They tried to do with his character what George did with Anakin. The difference is that we got to see the process in which Anakin's unsure feelings became more unstable the more he experienced. With Ben, we're just flat out told Luke felt darkness in him. But to be honest, the writing to me comes off more that Ben was manipulated to the dark side compared to Palpatine, who exploited what was already there within Anakin. Not to mention, the film demonstrated that Snoke is capable of manipulating the Force in separate locations, all for the purpose of manipulating specific characters' feelings. With that in mind, it makes more sense for Ben's character, considering how conflicted he is throughout the entire trilogy compared to Anakin, who took to the dark side like kitten to mother's milk. For those reasons, that's why I made the changes that I did, because it better explains the behavior of Ben's character. As for Luke, the if Luke would ever consider killing his nephew. This man would let the galaxy burn before he ever came to that conclusion. In my rewrite, I embraced his character's protective nature and had him go to Ben with the intent of defending him. Something else that irked me in the film version was them crossing sabers. It didn't feel that it was the right time. As for the attack on the school, I thought that would be a nice added subplot that would elevate the tension while also being the added benefit of introducing the First Order. With that, that is the end of the rewrite. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know what you think. Do you like the film version? Do you like the film? And how does my rewrite compare? Again, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe.